Bro, what a disaster.
Yeah, what a disgrace. You know what, bro? I'm so disgusted. It's beyond it. And let me say, it's already talking about the quarterback. I get it. The quarterback's not any good. This wasn't on the quarterback yesterday. It wasn't on the quarterback. It wasn't on the play calling. It wasn't on the defense. This is on the coach, okay? This is on the freaking coach. Every big play. Sweep by Garrett Wilson, holding penalty, Uzama. Big run by Breece Hall. He jumps over the freaking guy for a first down, holding penalty on Lazard. Touchdown by Breece Hall, holding penalty on Uzama. It's just before halftime, 9-3. I'm begging them, just don't give up any more points before halftime. Play it conservative. Bryce Huff, we love him. Everybody wants to pay him. And what does he do? A brutal roughing the passer. You know they're going to call it. You're on the ground. What are you doing? He basically gives them a field goal. And let's be honest, okay? I know they can't get in the end zone. But if that field goal doesn't happen, we're looking at Zerline lining up for the game-winning kick at the end of the game.
Yep.
And the interception doesn't happen. They've committed 43 penalties in the last 5 games. Every big play, there's a freaking penalty. I'm telling you, bro. I've had it with Uzama. I want Uzama. He should never have seen the field again after that holding penalty that cost him the touchdown. Never. Michael Carter stinks, okay? Have we seen enough of him? He had a crackback block that cost him 15 yards.
That was the other one, yeah, with third down conversion.
Bro, he's brutal. He has done nothing all year. He's dropped passes. Where is Izzy Abanaconda? Can I see the kid? Haven't we seen enough of freaking Michael Carter? I've had it with him. Well, and here's the biggest problem, okay? And I like the coach. Look, the coach and I got whatever you want to say. The bottom line is this. He's too nice. There's not enough accountability for his players. You never see him get in the face of his players. Does he yell at these guys after they make mistake after mistake after mistake? Does he bench them after they make mistakes? Can you take Alan Lazard anymore? How bad is he? And I can't even blame Hackett. I thought he was okay yesterday. How about the option pass by Garrett Wilson? It's a touchdown. Where is he throwing it, bro? Where is he throwing it out of bounds?
But, Joe, shouldn't they know Garrett Wilson now has a bad hand or shoulder? He's getting worked on. Why is he even being asked to throw that pass?
So Garrett Wilson, who also dropped a pass on the 2-yard line that Zach put right in his hands with 2 guys hanging on him, he didn't catch. There was a slant pass over the middle he didn't catch that he should have. And even the Hail Mary he should have caught, okay? I'm serious. He should have caught it, all right? Garrett Wilson had a killer penalty last week, had a killer fumble last week, and I like the guy, all right? But enough of this, all right? Enough. Can Garrett Wilson say to Hackett, look, my arm's bothering me. I don't think I can make this throw. How about that? I'm telling you, bro, I am so disgusted with this. I've had it. This is the same crap, bro. Look, you've heard me say it. You've heard me say this a million times. They can change the stadium. They can change the owner. They can change the practice facility. They can change the coaches. They can change the players. They can change the damn uniforms. The results never change. And they handed that game to the Raiders last night. The Raiders stink. They handed the game to them. They had every opportunity. The defense even got the ball back for them at the end of the game with a chance to win. And they couldn't do it. Zach throws the freaking pick, all right? I mean, what else can you say? And let's be honest. I'm sitting there waiting for it. Did you ever think they're going to score to win the game?
No.
Of course not.
No.
Of course
Joe,
you didn't.
I knew the game was over
In
on
the first
the
half.
C.J. Uzama hold that took the touchdown away from Breece Hall.
No, I'll even tell you before that. I knew the game was over. I knew they weren't scoring a touchdown when Zach stepped out on a 3-yard line.
Yes, but
you knew they weren't getting in the damn end zone.
But you're right. You said
and I'm telling you, it's on the coach. I like Salah, but this is on him. He's got to get in these guys' faces.
Well,
I'm tired.
That's what I was saying earlier to Tiki, but Tiki's point back, and it makes actually you make the point back. I'm not making the point for you.
Go ahead. My point with this, Joe, because I've had coaches that get in your face, and you know what? If you can, it's fine. But you expect it. You don't expect that from Robert Saleh. And so, yes, maybe it's shocking, but is it productive? And so I think he can't be somebody he's not. You know this, Joe. You talk to him all the damn time.
Okay,
right?
it's fine, Teak. But how about benching the guy? How about Uzama? You're not seeing the field anymore after you just cost us twice in this game. Michael Carter stinks. I mean, let's be honest about it. Bro, Michael Carter has had a brutal year. He's dropped passes all over the place. He's done nothing. He's had a couple penalties. Can we see this kid, a Anaconda? Let me tell you something. I text the coach every week about this guy. Why can't we see him? What is it? How is it hurting anything? Can you tell me that?
Well, I think he was hurt for a minute.
Okay.
But now I think he's healthy.
He's not hurt now. He's back.
Not hurt, but he's got to play special teams. So it's like getting him integrated.
Yeah, but you know what, Teak? Let him run the ball. Special teams my rear end.
But here's the thing, Joe. You're not wrong about that. Now, the challenge is creating the example, right? And if that's C.J. Uzama, if you create the example, it can't also hurt your team. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
It can't hurt your execution of the things you're trying to do. And if you take one of your tight ends out of the rotation, how are you replacing them? I think that becomes the issue. You know what I mean? Right? Because it's not like CJ's in there catching 8 passes a game. He's basically into the block.
Let's face it, he was a free agent bust signing. CJ Uzama's done nothing for this team.
So he's blocking, but his technique is terrible. Right? He basically bear hugged those two twice.
The only thing they're executing is themselves, Tiki. You know what they're executing themselves.
Well, and Joe, let's not forget, they committed penalties that cost them last night's game. I agree with you. The thing I was most pissed off about as I sat there in my chair until like 12:30 thinking about this crap and thinking about my life, wasting time rooting for this team, was penalties.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. The game last week against the Chargers, penalties. And let's not forget the Giant game. It was dumb penalties on defense and specials that essentially almost cost them the game, if not for the grace of God.
Bro,
this is a common thread with this team.
Bro, 43 penalties in the last 5 games. That's 8 penalties, more than that per game. You can't win that way. You can't win that way, especially when you got an offense that can't score touchdowns. You got a quarterback that's not any good. And look, the defense can only do so much. I mean, they took the ball away a couple times. They got burnt. I can't even kill them on the touchdown they scored because they started the drive on about the Jet 45-yard line.
Right.
They had that one play. Jacobs broke that one run. Mm-hmm. And even the touchdown. Whitehead was there. The guy made a really good catch on the ball. What are you going to do? You give up 16 points. You got to win.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way to say it,
well,
Teak.
It's hard when everybody takes their turns. Because you talk about that drive, Joe, that you just mentioned. They start on the 40, whatever it was, 40,
right.
45, or whatever it was.
Right.
Josh Jacobs comes to the hole, right? He's wide open.
Right.
Sauce Gardner tries to like punch the ball out. Instead of tackling him, he tries to punch the ball out.
Michael Carter did eventually, but it went out of bounds.
But I'm saying Sauce Gardner,
you got to bring him down.
Best player, tries to punch the ball out, and he goes 20 more yards.
Yep.
Right? So it's like those little things. And do I trust the Jets defense from 20 yards out to stop? You're good. You're best.
Right,
You're second best in the NFL, I think, still in red zone touchdown percentage. Right? So make the tackle.
Right.
So it wasn't just all the guys. It was everybody.
But you know what the problem is? We're asking them to be perfect.
Yeah, you're asking them to be perfect, Team.
You're right.
And again, the big play defensively was the Bryce Huff roughing the passer. I'm sorry.
Huge one.
I mean, that's a play you cannot make. Everybody wants to pay Bryce Huff. He's been great. He's been this. He's been that. You can't make this play.
No, especially because Daniel Carlson's field goal, was but it was a 54-yarder.
Right.
You take those 15 yards away, they're not attempting a 68-yard field goal.
No, you're right.
And then, like I said, at the end of the game, they're lining up for Zerline to win the game.
No, you're right.
There is no interception by Zach, or there better not be.
And think about
could be.
Think about the defense. The touchdown comes when they play with half the field, like you mentioned, because of field position.
Yep.
The field goal before that came when they had half a field because they had a good return.
Yep.
So 13 of the points came on either having great field position or a brutal penalty that set up a long field goal. Like, their defense was nearly flawless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can I say this too? And I got to say this. And you could call me just because I'm a Jet fan, whatever you want to call me. Okay. Let's be honest about this. You're telling me the Raiders last night, 3 penalties the whole game? You're telling me the Raiders, with the pressure the Jets put on, had 1 holding penalty all night? Come on. And watching this freaking game, okay? Watching this game, can they kiss Antonio Pierce's rear end any more than it was like watching a Raider infomercial. You know what? You know what this was?
True.
Let me tell you this, bro. Seriously, and Ev knows what I'm talking about. When they played Cleveland,
yes,
that Thursday night game,
Baker Mayfield,
right?
Yep.
Right?
Oh, God.
When they had the beer ready to unlock the beer for the entire city of Cleveland because they'd lost 50 games in a row.
Oh, I remember that.
Buck
actually.
and Aikman were out and out rooting for the Browns.
Yeah.
And that's the game, like you said, when Mayfield came in, Tyrod Taylor started, he got hurt. Mayfield came in, and then they won the game, and it was like a party.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, bro, and last night, and I'm telling you this too, call me crazy. Or you could call me crazy, okay? The league wanted the Raiders to win this game last night. All right? I'm going out on a limb, and I'm saying
but
it.
Why?
Because it's the Raiders. It's the Raider way. Oh, my God. Look at it's like the old days. Where's Al Davis? I'm surprised there wasn't an AI of Al Davis last night.
Yes.
Where was LaMonica? Where was Stapler? Where was Cliff Branch? Where was Jack Tatum? Serious. I'm surprised they weren't running up and down the field.
The guy.
Give me a break.
The guy who I thought was openly rooting for the Raiders, and I mentioned this very briefly in the open, is Chris Collinsworth.
Oh, there's no doubt about it, bro. Come on.
When they were driving down the field before the fumble, and Josh Jacobs had that one run in which he basically pushed for like an extra 6 yards, he was cracking up like he just saw a naked woman. Like,
right. Right. Oh, bro, it was a joke. They couldn't say enough. Antonio Pierce, he grew up a Raider. He didn't play for the Raiders. Grew up a Raider fan. You know, he grew up in Compton. I couldn't take it anymore. Really. God, I'm telling you. And here's the other thing. Now that Rodgers is out, the Jets are just, on the floor now. That's what they are. Who cares? Let them go. Let them lose every game the rest of the year. Who gives a you-know-what about them? I mean it. You can tell me. Say whatever you want. But I really buy that. I believe that.
Well, I'll tell you this.
3 penalties all night? 3?
But that would have to be
kidding?
a conspiracy theory. Like, I just can't believe in conspiracies.
Well,
Joe,
I do because I don't trust the officials in the NFL. I'm sorry. I don't. They have too much control over these games, Teak. This is true. Much control.
This is true. But they're just trying to do their job.
Yeah, okay. You tell me that's for sure.
But for them to want the Raiders to win?
Yeah, I really believe that.
That would have to come
because
from
the league wants the Raiders to be good. They want Vegas. They want Vegas to be a great place to come. Let's go to Vegas to see the Raiders. It's like the old days. John Madden, the whole deal.
You just got to take emotional insurance like Evan did. He bet against.
There's no emotion. I'm disgusted, bro. I'm 70 years old. No, wait a minute, T. I'm 70 years old. I don't buy that nonsense. I don't do that. I'm 70 years old. The clock is ticking, okay? The clock is ticking.
So ultimately,
and I'm sick and freaking tired of the same game. The same game, Teak, I was watching in 1976.
Just the players
I'm watching
are different.
now.
But Joe, you know what makes this worse, in my opinion? Adam Gase and Todd Bowles and Lou Holtz, if you want to go back to the 70s, they had the excuse that their players weren't any good.
Right. Well, yeah.
Robert Saleh doesn't have that excuse. This is a good team.
Yep.
This should be a playoff team. The fact they're 4-11 in their last 15 games, going back to the collapse of a year ago, that's what makes this even worse than Gase and Bowles.
Brutal. And when does it change? And I understand the injury to Rodgers, okay, fine. And I understand Zach's not any good, okay, fine. Look, the alternatives, Trevor Siemian stinks, you know that. I don't know what this guy Boyle is. Who knows? I mean, you would think if he could play, he'd be playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. It is what it is. But it's just unacceptable. They kill themselves every game. Here, Raiders take the game.
The only reason I can't buy into the Jets being, at the bottom, the back end of the NFL's desire to win is because they have them on Black Friday.
That's when they thought Aaron
Rodgers
existed.
Rodgers was going to be there.
Okay,
come on, Teak, you know that.
Yeah.
But still.
That's the only reason.
There's pre-Rodgers and there's post-Rodgers.
That's right.
And
by
the way,
only reason.
I'm curious because I know with every head coach we've watched, there's that moment where you say, he ain't the guy. Mm-hmm. Did you have a he ain't the guy moment with Robert Saleh last night?
You know what? I really want this guy to be the guy, but right now I got to say, I don't think he's going to, man. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't think they would get rid of him. I think he's going to get a year with Rodgers. If Rodgers really likes him, and I think he does, they're going to give him a year with Rodgers. But what I've seen right now, again, he's a wonderful man, but that's his biggest problem. He's too nice. and I don't think he's hard enough on his players.
So what do you want him to do?
I want some accountability, Teak. Give me accountability. If a guy's making – I understand what you're saying. What, you can't take him out because he's too important. Who's replacing him? I get all that.
Well, it's only 48 active guys. So I mean, I say that for a reason. But
I get it. But at some point,
I just don't I don't know how you
give me
fix
something better than this.
I just don't know how you fix what's ailing them, because it's stupid penalties, and it's every single guy.
Every game. Every
guy. But it's not the same guy. It's a different guy.
Right.
Every week, it's a different guy.
Well,
or
it was
a different
twice on
unit.
Uzama. A couple of guys, though, I've had enough of. I've had enough of Michael Carter. I've had enough of Alan Lazard. He absolutely is terrible. Even that play he made over the middle he caught, he's juggling the ball.
Yeah.
Maybe if he caught it clean, he might have been gone. I mean, I'm so disgusted watching this team, man. I really am.
Here's the reality. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't that shadow hovering above us, I think most Jet fans, myself included, I think you're at this point, we'd say Salah should be gone.
Yeah, well,
like for the last 2 years with this defense to waste it. I think we would say, sorry, bro, you had your shot and you have failed miserably. I think the shadow of Aaron Rodgers is the only thing that's going to keep him around.
I agree. I'm with you, man.
But wouldn't it
unless I see some dramatic change the rest of the year, and I don't see how it's happening.
Yeah, but don't you have to give them credit for what they're doing defensively?
I do.
You have to.
And Tiki, they play hard for him. Yeah. I'm not saying they don't play for him. They do. But, I mean, the mistakes, you can't live this way. And by the way, let me tell you this, too. You know what's going to happen. I got the whole scenario for you guys.
They're going to beat the Bills?
No. I think the Bills are going to kill them. I got no confidence going into this game.
Right.
Why should I? Okay, I got none. Okay, but anyway, I think it's over now as far as the playoffs. I really do. But with that, so I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. But here's what's going to happen. So the Giants are going to finish 3-14, whatever they're going to finish. They're going to wind up drafting one of the quarterbacks, and it's going to turn out to be the right quarterback. And the Giants, and no, I'm telling you, I can see it right now.
J.J. McCarthy.
Whoever it is. They could draft Michael Penix. They could draft Caleb Williams. They could draft May. They could draft Bo. It doesn't matter. They will draft, just like the Houston Texans hit a home run with C.J. Stroud, and really they got lucky. It's all luck, let's be honest.
Yeah, because
especially
the Carolina Panthers ended up wanting to take a 5'10" quarterback.
Right. Well, but it is luck, though, Tiki. You never know with these, especially the quarterback position. It's a complete crapshoot. And you watch, the Giants will come up with the right guy, and they'll be waving. We'll be looking at them in the rearview mirror again. So remember, you heard it from me, guys.
And Joe will be thanking you for those 24 seconds, and you saw us in the parking lot is the reason why.
Well, I don't know if that's the reason, but I could see that happening. You can't see that, Marash?
Of course I can. I'm rooting for it right now, Joe.
I know you are. Well, and knowing the way things are, with me and what I'm involved in with my teams, I could see it happening. And we'll draft the quarterback. And it'll turn into who's the guy from LSU that the Raiders drafted?
Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, that's right. That's what. It'll turn into Rick Meyer. You know what I mean?
God. Hey, went to
what
Notre
a
Dame,
disgrace!
Well, this season has been it's been one of the worst because it started with such promise, and we've watched this season unfold. And let's be honest, if Aaron Rodgers was healthy and average, not even great, he was the Aaron Rodgers of last year who had a very average year for him. This team would be in first place. They would be sitting there 7-2. They would
Something
be.
like that.
Look at all these games they would have won if they just had good quarterback play as opposed to below average quarterback play.
And I'm so mad at because I allowed myself, after they beat Buffalo opening night, I allowed myself to be sucked into thinking,
I know.
You know what, even without Rodgers, we could still be a playoff team. And then I got more sucked in. You know, they won that game in Denver. They beat the Eagles. We're all delirious. They beat Philadelphia, right? They're lucky as hell to beat the Giants. We're all sucked in. And now we're getting it right back where the sun don't shine.
The exact same script as a year ago. Let's be perfectly honest.
The last 50 years, pretty much.
You're right, but at least the last few years before that, we knew they sucked.
Right.
We were never sucked in. Right. Like last year and this year, there were moments
we were never sucked in. You're right.
That's the difference, and it just feels so wasted.
Well, we were sucked in last year when they were 7-4.
That's my point, and then they collapsed.
Right.
And then they fell apart, and it feels very, very similar that this whole thing is snowballing into another 7-win season.
If that, who knows?
So right now, you wouldn't do anything with the quarterback. You run Zach back out there and say, what the hell?
I'll tell you what they should have done. Tell me why they didn't call the Arizona Cardinals and say, here's a 6th-round pick for Josh Dobbs. Can you tell me that?
Did they even call inquire about it?
I don't think so.
Is it true, Tiki? Let me
I don't
ask you
think so.
Tiki,
Because his agent basically said, right?
Yeah, it was either going to be the Browns or the Vikings.
Yeah, the
All right, but let me
agent
ask you
basically
this.
said. Go ahead.
There's a rumor out there. Maybe you know this. I don't know. I know I heard it. I don't know if I completely believe it. That Carson Wentz was in to see the Jets this week, and the Jets told him to go take a hike.
Carson
did you hear that?
Wentz?
That's what I've heard. I've heard that. I don't know.
I did not hear that.
Okay, that's why I'm asking you. Maybe you
the
did.
only thing that I could think of, because he's coaching now, right? Is he?
He just signed with the Rams.
He signed with the
last week.
Rams.
Is that what he's doing? He's coaching with the Rams?
No, he signed with the Rams to play. But
No,
what
quarterback coaching. No, that's his brother.
Right.
Okay.
That's his. No, I'm thinking.
You're thinking of Carson Palmer.
I think of
Carson
Palmer.
Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
Former Eagle quarterback.
Gee, you don't like Carson Wentz.
You don't want him.
No, I understand that, but I mean, is he worse than Zach? I mean, he's not
Probably
good, but is
not.
he worse than Zach?
Probably not. But what I've heard is that it will mess up your locker room.
Oh, is that right? He's not a good guy?
He's not. He's just.
Well, you
there's
know
just
you
something
know better
off
than
with.
me
There's
then.
something off with him.
Yeah, I saw about a week ago. I saw a video of the Eagles after they won the Super Bowl, and everybody's partying in the locker room, and Carson Wentz is sitting by himself with like his hands in his head in his hands, all depressed about it.
Yeah,
but no, what I had heard, I think it's what you're talking about, Joe, is that Wentz was about to sign with the Rams and had his agent call the Jets to check in and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
Oh, is that what?
you
Okay.
guys sure you don't want me?"
And they said, "We're not
And the
interested."
Jets said no. And look, the Wentz thing I understand. The Joshua Dobbs thing I don't. Like once the
Sixth-round
Arizona
pick.
Cardinals
Bro.
are moving on from him, the Jets, even if you didn't want to replace Zach, because this was my point right before the trade deadline, I'm not replacing Zach, but I want a real backup so that I can replace Zach. So if things get bad, Jameis Winston was another guy I mentioned. Like, why the hell not if he's available?
He's just going to throw a ton of interceptions.
He is, but he's still. But you know what, though, Teak? I mean, I watched a lot of the Saint game yesterday because my son was here and he's a big Saint fan and all of that. I mean, Winston came in. I mean, I know he
gave him a chance.
Of course.
I mean, look, the first one pick wasn't his fault. The first pick wasn't his fault.
No.
He got hit.
Right.
The second one, it was kind of desperation. He just had to throw it up.
Right. Definitely.
So, but Jameis is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He's just going to turn the football over.
Yeah.
There were many options out there that the Jets did not think about.
None.
And that's the problem. And it goes back to the offseason when they should have brought in a real backup for Aaron Rodgers just in case he had to miss time.
Look, they should have never let Mike White go. He was better, but they knew he was better, and that's why he's gone, because they knew what was going to happen, and they had to continue to try to justify Zach Wilson. I'm sorry. I will go to my deathbed believing that.
Well, it feels that way. I mean, it really does. It feels that Robert Sala's loyalty to Zach comes from Joe Douglas insisting that he doesn't want to admit it was a failed pick, when the truth is, the moment you trade and sign Aaron Rodgers, you've admitted it's a failed pick.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So move the hell on.
And he's done after this year. I mean, I don't want to see him after this year. That's it. You go draft I don't care what quarterback it is, where it'll be. I don't know. But they got to draft another quarterback going into next year. They have to.
We'll see if Aaron Rodgers allows that. He may not want them to draft another
And
quarterback.
that's the other thing that we talked about last week, Joe, is that maybe this is all happening because Aaron Rodgers really likes the kid.
Could be.
I mean,
could be. Can Aaron Rodgers do more to play calling, too, then? Can he get involved in the play calling?
Did you see the clip of him shaking his head after a third down play call came in? It looked like Rodgers was annoyed with Nate Hackett call.
I'm undetermined whether he was saying, "Oh, it's terrible," or someone's asking him something and he's just shaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I'm still waiting to figure out.
No, I think
what
third
actually
and
went on.
one, fourth straight run. He's like, no, this sucks. What are you doing, Nate? I would never go for this if I was there.
Right. Yeah. I want Rodgers more involved in the play calling. I really do.
Well, Aaron Rodgers plans on coming back mid-December. Too bad those games are going to be meaningless.
Yeah, it looks that way now.
Joe, good talking to you, man.
All right, guys, all the love.
See you, Joe.
See you guys.
The great Joe Benigno, feeling the way I'm feeling, blaming this head coach, looking at the undisciplined nature of this team being the thing that was the biggest takeaway from last night's loss. And look, here's the reality. I want to make this very clear about Zach and the quarterback situation. If they have a capable quarterback, if they have even Joshua Dobbs, dare I say, you can overcome a couple of bad penalties.
Yeah.
But when you play with no margin of error, you have to be perfect. And it's not just being perfect on defense. It's not just being perfect on protecting the ball and not turning it over. It includes being perfect when it comes to penalties. So, yes, I understand. If the Jets had better quarterback play, we wouldn't sit here screaming about penalties and blaming the head coach. But that's the world we live in. And as long as this coach and this general manager was going to insist on Zach Wilson at quarterback, who's not very good, then we're going to put everything under the microscope, including their undisciplined play, which cost them a game last night.
The problem is that Zach every week does a little something just a little bit better. Not like noticeable. Not like he's throwing for 300 yards, but it's just little things that he's doing a little bit better than he was before.
Tiny bit better.
But it's not good enough to win.
Just get in the bleeping end zone.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
If the Jets got in the end zone once a game. It's
a game of inches. His big toe was out of bounds. Otherwise, it's a touchdown.
What?
The question has to be asked before we get off of this.
Go ahead.
Because you didn't push back at all.
About what?
Do you think the league wanted the Raiders to win the game last night?
No, but I think the officiating was brutal.
The officiating can be brutal. Look, I love Joe. That was the worst take he's had since we started.
No, but he always believes that sometimes, that these are
They don't care about
conspiracy
Aiden O'Connell winning games. Do you see how many primetime games they gave the Jets and Giants this year? They want the Jets in the race.
Yeah, but that was before Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
Yeah. I don't want to hear that. That's even more of a reason they want the Jets to stay in the race because these teams have faded out. You think they want nobody watching Black Friday in 2 weeks?
I don't think the officiating in the NFL ever is trying to help certain teams. But I'll tell you one thing I do agree with them about, because I mentioned this at the top. And you want to tell me I'm just being a bitter fan. I understand that. I am watching it with green-colored glasses. But Chris Collinsworth just should have brought out the pom-poms.